What up, Wayfinders? So are you like me, and in every RPG that you've played, you always play the support, either the tank or the healer? Well, today is the day.
Here is my chance. I will show you my skill as a crusader, and prove my worth.
So we got a tank break power build. So the goal of this build is not necessarily to deal out the most damage. It can deal damage, but it's to be able to tank anything.
Forget about us, milady! Save yourself!
I will not!
Alright guys, with that, let's see what's cooking and how this build is put together. So this build is going to be a max health, max weapon power, with a bit of break power and defense added in, is going to be the recipe for this build. So we are using the Beastmaster set, of course, to get the weapon power, health, and break power bonus. Alright, it is definitely worth farming. And then we are using Bastion for the healing as well as the great defensive stats. Now, as far as artifacts go, we can use the Dread Legion. That one gives us bonus magic defense. Or we can also use either the first artifact or the Storm Twins. It doesn't really matter as long as you don't use those two. Alright, that's the important thing. So, getting into the echoes. So we're going to go through the echoes one by one. So these are the echoes that I have slotted in. I do want to upgrade that to a purple, so I need to farm the first as a purple. Alright, so this is pretty min-maxed. So the rush echoes that I have equipped, like Commander's Creed, as well as Autorok and the Knight's Maw, those ones do great AoE damage without you having to proc them yourself. They'll automatically start procking. And then I do want to upgrade that to a purple as well. This one is important. You gotta not upgrade it in order for it to slot in. This is not an overcapped build. That Bone Stomper, that one's a great health bonus. You can swap it out for a Shroud Stalker if you're trying to get more weapon power instead, because they both cost the same. And then you can pass that 9k mark. And then we got the Reaver Warbear, another great break echo, and then the Silent Butcher, but we're not going to upgrade it all the way. Those ones are easy to farm. I'll link the video on how to get that one. That's a guaranteed drop. Alright, so another way you can do this build is you can reduce the break power and increase the weapon power. So that way it's really high and we can get it up to the 10k mark. But then we lose the break power and then almost like 1,000 of the health as well. It's not the best way to run it. You can run it. I run it this way if I'm running solo, but if I'm running as a team, that's not how I'll run it typically. So as the abilities go, we're going to do Lightning Grasp the 3, so we get that 30% bonus damage. And Gain Favor, this one's important. We need all 3 of these stats. We need the additional 10% reduced damage. We need the meter to get bigger by 50%. And then we're also going to use Thunderous Glory as well, so that way we have a good ultimate. These are how I have my Affinities stacked. So we got reduced damage while showboating for 10%. And then any hits that we take while we're showboating, stack 2% per hit, up to 10 stacks for 10 seconds. So that's a 20% buff if we're taking a lot of hits. And we are taking hits. And then this is an additional 20% reduction. And then the crowd meter stays fuller. So we got 20% reduction, 10% reduction, and then the 10% reduction, which totals out to 40% reduced damage that we're taking. And then the important thing is with her new ability after the patch, when we showboat, she stacks heal when she takes damage. So all the damage you take, it may actually heals you. So we are going to do Press the Advantage, so that way we gain pips for breaking the enemy, which is why we need to have the break power, because that's how we're going to be getting the pips. So we have the break power at 3,500 right there, so that way we can break enemies easy, we can get the pips easy, and we can heal easy. And then, of course, our Beastmaster set is just only going to boost that even more. So now let's go ahead and we're gonna go and do a run on Beastmaster on Sphere 4 real quick. And I have some rules that were set up for testing out the tankiness. So the first one is we aren't using potions. We aren't gonna be blocking at all. No shield blocks, no parries. The third rule is gonna be we aren't gonna use Bastion heal at all either, because we're trying to see how much we can tank with this build, with its health as high as it is, as well as its defense stacked. And then we aren't going to use the ultimates either.
There is no better foe than a holy knight!
But some of you may say, but Hype, what about damage? And truth be told, some of us just aren't cut out for damage. So let's stick to support and let the Giga Chads do their damage.
What? Oh my god, what kind of people do I have in my party? He was standing still and she missed him! How is that even possible?
Alright, so we've loaded in the Beastmaster Sphere 4. Our stats have scaled up, as you can see. We are going to rush on in, and we are just going to start building up our meter and doing as much break power damage as we can. We can break the enemy super fast with this build, and you'll see we'll gain pips. We aren't going to use them because we're seeing our tank ability. Alright, but in a real scenario, we would use those pips to constantly heal our teammates, as well as when you use the pips, you get a damage buff for you and your teammates as well, because it's a War Master ability. Alright, so you can see that I'm doing like 3-4k with the 200% damage bonus, stacking my stuff, even without using my pips to give me even more bonus damage. So you can see that the healing numbers that are coming off, because my health is so high, it's giving me lots of healing because it's based on your health. And then I'm just tanking the damage just straight to the face from multiple enemies. And you can't get staggered while you're doing that favor the crowd emotion. So anytime that you think you're gonna get hit, it takes a little bit of practice, but you use either your punch or your crowd favor, your Y, and then that's how you tank the damage instead of blocking. So that way you're constantly charging something. And these punches, they actually work really well for break power. That's the only, her punch ability is not good for damage. It's good for break power, it's good for dodging, and it's good for healing when you're taking hits. And we did that run pretty fast, not too bad for not even trying to do damage. Less than 2 minutes. Alright guys, so that is my Sphere 4 Beastmaster run with all of the beasts and the Beastmaster attacking me from all angles, using no blocks and taking him out solo. That is my build, you guys. Let me know what you think. What build should I do next? I know a majority of the builds out there are either dagger builds or Windmother Fang builds or Titan's Bane. Like, what do you guys want to see? What unique build do you guys want to see, and see if I can make it work? Let me know in the comments. That's it for today's episode. Make sure you subscribe so that way you can stay tuned in for more in the future. And as always, until next time, Wayfinders.